Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the F30 from Chapel Hill series, and we're going to be retrofitting these sport seats in Dakota Schwartz black leather into our base model F30 that has electric, memory, and lumbar support. In order to do this, we're going to give them a little bit of a clean here, do some vacuuming, do some leather conditioning before we install them since it's easy to get around. And then we're also going to remove the seatbelt tensioner and the airbag out of these and replace with our original ones so that we don't throw a code. We'll also replace our seat box module, our seat module as well in order to make it a complete swap. It should keep the memory settings, should keep everything without throwing a code. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get these cleaned up and then start to remove some of those elements, seatbelt tensioner and the air bag in the seat, and swap over everything from our other seats after removal. We're going to try to clean up the leather with this Cadillac leather cleaner. I've used it on dress shoes and other things, so hopefully it works on these seats. I am going to do a little bit of a spot check just on somewhere that you can't really see underneath where some of the leather wraps around before doing the whole seats, but we'll just apply onto a microfiber cloth, get it scrubbed down. You can see there's a small stain on the bolster on the driver's seat, and just generally I think the leather could use a cleaning, so we'll go from there. Looks pretty good. The leather didn't dye. You can see definitely a little bit of dirt coming off, so I think we can go ahead and start to do some of our leather that we can see. Biggest mark was right here, so that's why you see me giving this a little bit of attention. It looked like there was a little sort of spot from maybe a drink or something, maybe some other cleaning product, but leather cleaner seemed to get it off nicely. No damage to the leather itself, just a little discoloration from something. All right, see, that's pretty good for the cleaning. All right, we're gonna go ahead and tip the seats back and get the two modules out that we need. In order to do this, we're going to need to push out the connectors for the seatbelt restraint and then follow it up for the airbag, which is up in the seat. So in order to do that, we're gonna have to remove some of these. These come out on the side. We'll just sort of push against and push out, see if we can't get a few of them to slide out. And then hopefully should be able to get those off. Let's go ahead and get these both on their backs. Yep, this one has a couple fewer connectors than this one. And this one looks to be in full tilt, which is fine. We'll eventually plug it in and get those undone, but all right. And then those just slide out. And the white one is for our seatbelt tensioner, zip tied to the rail as well. Oh, I think this one actually will just unclip from the rail. We don't have to cut this zip tie. All right, and then that is the seatbelt tensioner disconnected, and then we should just be able to take off all right, so that's this one. Let's do the same on the other side. Got that first tab off. Perfect. Okay. I think we only need to slide 2 of these out. All right, and that should just gently pull through. Perfect. Get our T50. Okay, that is our seatbelt tensioner off. We're just going to go ahead and label these while we have them. Passenger. Okay, we'll save those to transfer. All right, next what we're going to do is we're going to remove the seat back. So in this instance, they have these little pop rivets. We're just going to pop those out and then pull them off. Ah, that's what it is. We just pulled down. All right, and that's the seat back off. It's got these nice big tabs and side bits. So, all right, and in order to get up to the airbag here in the seat, we're gonna have to pull back the leather bits here and then gently get this rail off, which is sort of pushed into the seat. So I think we're gonna have to sort of leverage it out and then fold it over, and then our airbag should be over here. So we should just be able to gently pull some of this leather out. Okay, and then this, I think we're going to have to gently pry down and out. Oh, there we go. We're just going to go ahead and gently get this wire out of here. All right, and we shifted around here just a little bit so we can get our wire out. There's just a little connector up here. We can just sort of open up, and this should presumably pass through. We'll just leave that disconnected there. That's going to be really tight. You know, let's go ahead and get this disconnected. It's just 10 millimeters. Got it. How annoying is that? All right, and to remove the airbag itself, there's a small clip down there that we just need to gently lift off what is the metal part of our seat rail. There we go. Oh my goodness, all to save from throwing an airbag code. This is going to be a real treat to get back in, and we have to do this 4 times. All right. Let's get the other seat disassembled before taking out our others. Oof. Got it. Here we go. And then we can start to guide it up. Perfect. Let's see if we can't get this airbag away again. All right. Looks pretty good. All right. Well, just 2 more times. All right, here we are on the passenger side. We're gonna go ahead and loosen up the seat. We've got it pushed back just a little bit, but it's a T50, and we're just gonna loosen these, and then we're actually gonna get our electric ratchet, take them fully out. We're just gonna thread these in just a couple so the seat doesn't, actually, you know what? Just gonna move the seat up. And we're just gonna do the same thing in the back. Just loosen these up. All right, before we remove the seat, we're just gonna gently get this airbag cover off and take our seatbelt off. Just let that hang for now, and then we're gonna go ahead and even the seat out on the rails just so it doesn't go anywhere on us. Perfect. It's pretty even, and we'll leave that there for now. Let's go around to the driver's side. All right, and next what we're going to do is disconnect the seat. We're gently going to tip our seat back just so we can disconnect. This is a big yellow clip. You just depress it, pull it back, and gently slide it out. That is our seat disconnected. And now we're ready to remove the seat. We're going to try and gently swing it out. We will just try to be gentle. Similarly, we're just going to gently tip our seat back to expose our module, push in the tab, and withdraw it back. A little bit different. All right. While we have the seats out, we're going to go ahead and vacuum underneath, but what you might notice is that it's relatively clean underneath, and that's just because we recently installed our Harman Kardon sound system, so we actually had the seat lean back enough for us to vacuum in previously. But we're going to go ahead and do both sides here and just get up everything that we couldn't really reach before as well. One thing we're also going to do before we move ahead, just to make sure we don't have to do any wiring, is we're going to have to just check to see if pin 1 has a yellow connector. And this is pin 1 all the way up here at the top. So we might have to get creative in how to slide this whole thing down. Looks like these are individually, I guess it's a whole big unit. Just don't want to make any assumptions here, so let's go ahead and see if we can open up this box. Here we go. All right, and that is, and pin 1 is here, and it does have a wire, and we have a label up here, pin 1 which is this big wire, so I think we're good. All right, we've just got our little cheat list here before we put this back into the receptacle, but pin 1 we have, pin 8 we have, pin 16 we have, pin 15 we have, on the other side pin 26 and 25. So we have everything on the passenger side that we need in order to power our seats, lumbar, memory, all the good stuff. So this car does have the right options. We're just going to go ahead and close up the receptacle. We're going to zip tie it back together like factory, and then we'll just double check on the driver's side, but I think we should be good over there. All right, and this time we're going to do the same, but we're going to remember to do our zip tie first so we don't put any pressure on those wires. There we go. Starting to slide out. Perfect. Okay, and on this side, we are looking for, again, pin 1, perfect. Pins 5 and 6, perfect. And then pins 15 and 16, perfect. So with that, we can go ahead and put this back in. We can professionally zip tie it back up. All right, so next we've got our seats up here. We are going to take our original OEM seats. We're going to take the module out. We're going to take the seatbelt retentioner out, and we're going to put it into our new to us sport seats. So let's go ahead and get the module transitioned over, as well as the seatbelt retentioner, and then we'll flip it over and do the airbag. It does look like it's just held in by these two clips. Let's gently push our module out, and then we'll just gently reverse order, put our module in. Perfect. We'll go ahead and get these plugged in their respective places. Good news is all 3 clips are unique. There's not really an opportunity to mix these up. All right, those are all plugged in and secure. Let's go ahead and get our seatbelt retentioner here. There we go. White one's out. Also going to go ahead and get our blue one out. Perfect. And then we do need to get the seatbelt retentioner off the rail. And now we can remove our seatbelt tensioner. Good and tight for now. We'll find a spec for that. We'll route our wire back underneath. Get our retaining clip onto the rail. It's nice and tight. Perfect. All right, and we can just leave that hanging out for now. And we're just going to go ahead and attach the old or other tensioner just back to this seat. Looks good. Go ahead and hand tight for now. Okay, so we got our module transferred over. We got our seatbelt retentioner passed over. Let's find a torque spec for our seatbelt tensioner on ISTA. All right, so it looks like the seat belt tensioner to the seat is 42 Newton meters. So we've got our torque wrench out. We're gonna go ahead and tighten down our old seat just in case. We're gonna go ahead and do this. All right, and that is 42 Newton meters. We're gonna go ahead and also unroute our airbag, since we are going to be changing it. All right, and we're actually going to flip this upside down so that we can get everything started in the back. All right, and let's continue with getting out our airbag. There we go. Similar to our other seat. Okay, that's off and that is off. Perfect. And now comes everybody's real favorite part, getting these 10 mil nuts off. Wow, you can see our little plastic clip down here. Oh, nice. All right, and we're gonna transfer over to this one. I think we're gonna practice installing it on this one first, just so that we're aware of how it really goes back in. I think we'll just reverse order it, but cord in first. We're going with this guy. So we're going to guide it up because I think this will be easier than sort of guiding the plastic retaining box through. So with that, let's go ahead and get this into place. Well, I'm hoping that this will be easier, so we're going to depin rather than run the box through. Yellow to 39, brown to 40. So we got yellow to 39 and brown to 40. This does not look like a junction box that opens, it just looks like the pins. Okay. I'd say that worked pretty good. Yellow to 39, brown to 40. All right. All right. Looks pretty good. Get this in there. Feeling pretty good about that. Foam feels good. Let's get a couple of those nuts back on. It's nice and even, nice and flat. Well, the good news is that reinstallation was not nearly as bad as the first uninstallation, so yeah, that's that. That's a reassembly. All right, so that is actually our passenger that we are not going to be reinstalling, but it was good practice. All right, let's start with the snaking. Yellow 39, brown 40. Pretty good. Okay, nice. For you eagle eyes, you might have noticed that last time I didn't put it into that seat, but I did go back off camera and just put it in. But it's really just to do a little bit of wire management around the hinge. All right, and then this is our airbag cable, which we need to route to our module. And this one goes in before the white one. Ah, there's an arrow. Perfect. Ugh, goodness gracious. Pins are up. I believe that's our seat back together. That's the passenger side. Now let's go ahead and get the two driver's side seats up and do the same thing. All right, so now we've got the two driver's seats up. We can see the much larger control module that we'll be exchanging over. Also be doing our seatbelt tensioner and our airbag. So with that, let's actually get the module over first, since That's the easiest seam thing. All right, there we go. Firmly into place. That is not going anywhere. Nice. Okay. And then, since there was a sort of order of operation for removal, let's go ahead and do the same for installation. All right, let's get our seat belt tensioner. Okay, and then let's get our little clip on. Perfect. And since this is on the outside, we can just leave that for now. Okay. Right. Yep, perfect. Okay, so goes that way. Now let's torque this down to spec. Next, let's go ahead and get our airbag off our original. All right, let's go ahead and get the back off here. All right. All right, that's our original airbag out. Let's get the other one installed back in. Okay, let's take our snake. All right, now we need to depin yellow into 39, brown into 40. It's exactly like all the others. Yellow into 39, brown into 40. Perfect. Okay. All right, not sure where that turned off, but we're just rerouting our cable here a little bit. I got that one, and then our seat tensioner, which we need to install. All right. Okay. That's everything on this seat. Let's get the back, leather back up here. There we go. We have that wire thing again. We almost forgot it. That just goes down here. Oh. Alright, let's get some retention pins in here. Now, let's do the real deal. I can't remember if we torqued this seatbelt tensioner to specs, so we're just going to go ahead and do that first since we got it here. Go ahead and depin, and then we can snake. As always, 39 is yellow and 40 is brown. Routing correct. All right. Okay. Got that through. Let's go ahead and get our box back on so we don't damage any pins. Yellow 39, brown 40. All right, nice and set. We'll leave that for now. Let's get our airbag installed up here. There we are. Now we're past the foam. All right, and we're sitting pretty in there. There we go. Snaps into place. Great. Let's go ahead and get our little leatherette on. Get this last little guy. There we go. Perfect. Okay, those are in. Okay. All right, there we go, secured. That is our driver's seat. Let's go ahead and get everything back into the car. Before we forget, on both seats, we do have one last professional zip tie for some wire management. All right, let's go ahead and get these new seats in and see if everything works. I'm hopeful because we did take everything we could from our original seats. Modules, seatbelt tensioner, airbag. I think we did it the right way, so let's see how we can get this back in. Passenger is going to be easier than driver, just to guess. Plug in our module. Let's go ahead and thread a couple of bolts in the backs. As we were installing the seat, it does look like our microphone turned off, so apologies for that, but we're able to sort of swing the driver's seat around and underneath the steering wheel in order to get it into place. Here we're just sort of manipulating the seat in order for it to just stand upright so that we can go ahead and plug in our receptacle as we slowly tip the seat back. Once we have that yellow receptacle lined up, we'll just push it in and then close the retaining clip in order for it to stay into place. As we do that, we'll gently tip our seat back forward and then look to hand thread a few of the bolts in so that the seat doesn't tip back and forth before we finally tighten them down and then torque them to spec. Next, we're just tightening these down with our electric ratchet, and then finally going up and tightening and installing the seat belt retention clip below its plastic tab before replacing the plastic above it, torquing that to spec as well. Next, once we've tightened all the bolts down, we're just testing that the seat works, but this also allows us access to the front two bolt holes, so we can do the same on the front. Good news is, with everything plugged in and power back on, the seats are moving back and forth. We're going to do the same thing on the passenger side as well. We're just going to move the seat back into position in order for us to be able to access those front two bolts underneath the seat to the seat rail. Once we have the seat fully retracted, we'll go ahead and use our electric ratchet in order to tighten things down, and then finally torque it to spec as well. Once we have all the hardware for both of our new to us F30 Sport Seats installed, we go ahead and get in the car and load up ISTA. Once we've got our VIN number read and pulled up in ISTA, we're just going through and clearing any codes that we had. In this instance, we did have a code because we had not unplugged the battery prior to pulling the seat tabs, but it was a quick reset, and once we went through and cleared all the codes on all of the modules, the errors went away and the seats were in good working order. We did test both sides to make sure that the bolsters were working, the seat heating was working as well, and just used all of the adjustment mechanisms on the side to ensure that we had power to everything and it was functioning properly. That will complete the installation of the F30 Sport Seats into our F30 from Chapel Hill series. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more episodes on the channel.